Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to the Canyon. Welcome back to another installment of the Quickview series. This one's a little bit of an odd one, definitely in the catch-em-all category, because historically, tires that are super skinny, A, I don't get it. B, they don't work as well. We really saw this with the Mickey Thompson Baja MTZ from RC Four-Wheel Drive, where they have a 2.2 version, which is like super skinny, like the width of an Element pin seeker. And then the regular 1.9 version is just normal 1 3/4 wide, that like 47, 48 millimeter wide, just normal. And they work better across the board. So while we do have our fair share of experience with tires from Ottsix, the KLR, the KLR M, did we do MTX? Trail Spec Compound, VEX Red, the Competition Gold. This is the KLR X4 in VEX Compound, in the VEX Red. And this is an odd one. This is a real odd one. It mentions on the website, if you go to Ottsix and look them up, it's like, be aware. These are red. They're gonna wear fast, like warning. KLR X4, 2 tires, foam sold separately. Foam's not included because of its unique size and configuration. Ottsix foams are highly recommended for this tire. Compound and foam recommendations for the KLR X4: : because of their unique size and stance, we have very specific compound foam RTR weight recommendations for the KLR X4. : red competition compound recommended for trucks weighing up to 8 pounds. They never actually mention, like, use this foam. You can still, so far as I can tell, out of stock. Okay, I was going to say you can still buy the tires. So this shows out of stock. And why they are interesting is heavily belted and ribbed throughout, and then atop that, a carcass whose thickness, that's a plug. A carcass, the thickness, the likes of which I have never seen. The main band of tread across the center of the carcass, because where I punched my hole, I made an effort not to catch any lug, and that goes right through. It catches a little bit of rib there. That plug of rubber is 5 millimeters thick. And I would say, honestly, that at the thinnest point of the sidewall under this groove right here, it might get down to 3 millimeters. And I want to emphasize the size of this tire. Finding a foam is going to be extraordinarily difficult for you, because there's so much rubber in this tire. If you take this, just like this, and put it on a scale, one of these weighs about 126 grams. Would you like to know what 2 of the aforementioned RC Four-Wheel Drive Mickey Thompson Baja MTZs with foams in them weigh? 122 grams. 122, 126 without the foam. Okay, if it wears out quick, fine, but there's literally 2 tires worth of rubber in this one tire. And I did find a suitable foam. This is the foam from the Pitbull Brave and Blood Axe, which is that wide. Because this tire is so much tire, you can use a foam for a tire that is probably 7 or 8 millimeters narrower, and it fills it out. I performed a series of test mountings before getting to this, the final one, and learned very quickly. When I saw a tire this thin, I have a special set of bead locks, because most every tire test is performed on the exact same type of HYBDX, Oh, you name the importer brand on Amazon of 105s. I have like 10 sets, and this is specifically what they get used for. They have a 24 millimeter inner ring on this rim, and I have a narrow set that has a 20 millimeter inner ring. And when I see a tire like the Blood Axe, like the Pin Seeker, like this one, I go right to the narrow wheel because I'm like, that's a narrow tire. It's barely going to be wider than the rim. That was a calculated error. These need to be run. I invented. These need to be run on a 24 millimeter inner ring. Otherwise, it will just eject the tire out of the bead because the rubber is so thick. If you present any kind of load onto it, it unseats itself. No, try as you may, and try as you might, and I did. I thought it was me. I was like, oh, we're hogging it. We're tightening the screws down too fast. I still cross tighten because it feels like the tire can overwhelm the insert. I mean, it can overwhelm the wheel. That is not the screw for this wheel. We have more. Now we'll do a little cross pattern. These were not particularly easy to mount. I mean, they just fall together. But because I've never encountered a bead surface that thick, if you just go at them and start hammering away, they will pop the bead. 124, almost 125. Let me see on the other meter. 124 is 4 7/8. That's tall. And dead 40 wide. So the same width, or is a Pin Seeker? It's right about the width of a Pin Seeker. So not the narrowest tire we've ever tested, but in terms of aspect ratio, this thing has the crazy aspect ratio of like a Genius. Which a Genius with a 3D printed insert in it is about 135 grams. So weighs slightly more than this tire by itself. I don't know what to expect of this. You can't even tell what the grade of the foam is on the inside, like how firm the foam is, because there's just so much rubber. I have never seen... I was pulling tires down off the thing. I could not find a single Class 2 tire that weighed over 100 grams. Most are in, I would say 80 to 90 grams is about where you're at. Some got up to like 99 if we're talking a lot of lugs. A 525 LP Tusk weighs 99 grams. And this weighs 126. This weighs 25% more than a 5 1/4 inch Tusk. With a foam in it. So we're definitely talking about a lot of rubber. We are talking about just perfectly vertical sidewalls. Like they're just, they have like a millimeter or two of bulge. Otherwise they're just straight. Which means that even that foam, as narrow as it is, it's still a little bit stuffed inside that tire. Yeah, your foam. If you're trying to fit X4s, your choice of functional foam is going to be hyper specific. I don't get it. I don't run, the narrowest tire I routinely run is the Injora S4 comp pin at about 42 millimeters wide. So these are fairly close, and they're red, and we know red works, but man, they feel as hard as rocks. You're definitely not going to get a lot of deflection out of these on the low side, even at this, and they say, it says on the page, it's right here, I'm looking at it, for vehicles up to 8 pounds. I mean, the thing should side hill like a giant. I think we would need 8 pounds to just deflect out the tires. But the rocks will let us know. They will let us know. So we're going to go out there and we are going to do that. The 10 steps of the Class 2 tire test protocol with the Ottsix KLR X4, a tire that I really, at least right now, before we've seen it do what it do, that I don't understand, like, why does this exist? And it looks like a morning of all 5, 75, 25, 65. It is going to be, as they would say, a corker today. The sun is barely up and it is 75 degrees. It's gonna get hot today. This remains to me an inexplicable tire. We've got that compound, you know, it's VEX red, competition red, but my God, the thickness. We've also got what a KLR looks like. It is a KLR tread pattern, but it has no finish on it. None. This is, I don't know what these are for. What are these for? It almost feels like, okay, easiest line. It feels like they weren't meant to do this. Like, in terms of maneuverability, we get the KLR stuff. Like, it turns in nicely. I feel like no matter what you do, you're not going to be able to get an insert soft enough. And then because the aspect ratio is so wrong, the sidewall this is a 100. This is a 100 series tire. Looking at it posed in this angle right here, I feel like the distance from beadlock ring to top of the lug and the width of the carcass of the lugs is the same. It might be over a 100% aspect ratio. As such, the tire does not conform to any surface. But even at rubber between 3 and 5 millimeters thick, I don't understand. The inaccuracy is incredible under torque split. Like, when one end is trying to pull the other end, you get nothing. They behave as if one axle has been completely separated from the vehicle. It is an excellent instructional moment, I think. The 3 C's. This tire got compound and composition correct. But this carcass makes no sense at all. An exceptionally generous 7.5. So, is it the skinniness? I don't think it is. We've seen performance from skinny tires. Skinny tires can work. Have I ever seen a crawling tire this thick? I have not.
I also neglected to show something. When I was mounting the other 3 tires, if you took your fingers and you pinched the sidewalls in between your fingers and you press them together, the insides of the sidewalls would stick together and you had to pry them apart. So this isn't a clone issue. These are KLR X4s in VEX red. But they are for vehicles up to 8 pounds.
Oh no!
Well, for a vehicle between 5 and 6, these are terrible. I could unmount that set of wheels and mount up a set that's the KLR Comp Spec Golds that come with the Wizard and just walk this. They have the exact same pattern. They are not a ton wider. I would say 5 millimeters wider.
Oh no!
It is too much sidewall. No compliance. If these are intended to be fitted to a vehicle that weighs under 8 pounds, what do they mean, like 7.95? And then I think the sidewall betrayals will just become routine and commonplace. Baseline has been having a real time as of late, in that just tire after tire is just worse and worse and worse. I'm going to grant another extremely generous 7.5 because basically that tire couldn't execute the first 2 aspects of this. It should legitimately get like a 6 1/4. But this is another one of those where the X4 is a tire that makes no sense and serves no purpose. And by any other KLR, we've done the V1s, whatever the new ones are, and they all work. But these don't. So basically, for ease of mental math and minimization of mental gymnastics, this tire is a 75 until it proves otherwise. Now the red should just lock down right here, and we shouldn't have to worry about the tire over collapsing because they are incredibly thick. There was a tiny little bit of slide away there in the middle, the tiniest bit. Right there, little small hesitations. But the carcass is so thick, the sidewall doesn't fold. Turning circle is ridiculous. They are schizophrenic. Got some good squeaks going on that rubber. Right there. Is it going to dip? No. I mean, it's immaterial at this point. I don't know if it's possible to recover from 2 7.5s. So that's 15. We're going round even numbers. I'm going to give it a 9. 24. So an average of 8 through the first 3, which is really, really bad. Now, is there an insert with which these will work better? Almost certainly. But what insert is over 475 tall and 30 millimeters wide? I tried ham-fisting a number of inserts into there, And if you'll recall back, Ottsix doesn't even give you a recommendation. It goes colon, 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 where it's like, we recommend this, and they never actually give you the name of an insert that should fit this, which leads me to believe probably discontinued for all the right reasons. These are awful. This is the worst KLR. This is the worst Ottsix tire that I've tried, period. Including the gray market KLRs that used to pop up on Amazon and AliExpress fairly frequently. All of those gray market tires now are straight up clone fakes. Like, they ran out of whatever, they had a supply of Ottsix compound and they must have run out of it, because they are now basically equivalent to any other Amazon tire. The inaccuracy combined with, like, flat ground, like, look, watch this. Turning circle is the size of a manhole cover, right? This thing will just whip it around. As soon as you get up anywhere where we're splitting torque, you have no idea where you're gonna go.
What?
The transitional phase between main lug and what counts as a side lug it doesn't exist. You're gripping and then you're not, and you can't even predict when it's gonna, because there's no sidewall deflection whatsoever. These are discs. Those lugs, they are doing their very best. They're trying so hard to get so far, but in the end, it doesn't even matter. Let's throw another 7.5 on the fire. And I dare not make any predictions about self-righting behavior, because it might be the best thing we've ever seen. It might be absolutely mediocre. I don't know. All I know is the shoulder has no compressibility. Doesn't flex at all. The energy return out of the tire is tremendous. I think if you were to cut a silicone down to fit these, you would make a Super Bowl. 25 cents at the local variety store. You get to bounce it 2 times. You can't help it. You open the egg, right? You open the egg, you take the ball out, and you're like, I'm gonna bounce it. It looks like Neptune. It's blue and it's got swirls. And you bounce it, and the thing just goes into hyperspace. Like it moves into the next plane of reality. I think if you were to fit a silicone to this tire, you would get the double energy return of the mile thickness of rubber and the springiness of the silicone. And you could probably do a bump, front flip or back flip, depending on how you tried to land it. How is a tire, it's accuracy and precision, isn't it? It's accuracy versus precision. These tires are at times accurate and not precise, and at times precise but not accurate. Like, they will do a thing, but it might not be the thing that you were expressly looking for in that moment. Right there. We almost got there. Oh, could have had it. Could have had it. Unbelievable. This is textbook 7.5 stuff. There is no... It's accuracy is what it is. Like, you can point it and try to shoot it, and it's doing its very best, very, very best, but you cannot accommodate a carcass 5 millimeters thick. And lest we forget, it's ribbed and belted. So it has even less compliance. Do I think that these could be rescued? I think you would make a tremendous amount of mess. But I think if you were to turn these inside out, figure out like a piece of pipe that you could stretch them over, and basically sand shave them on the insides, take all the ribbing and all the belting out of the inside of them, they might actually work. And I'm wondering now, could you grind them enough to fit a normal sized insert in it? Like, I think one could be suitably fabricated by cutting up the inner of a dual stage, cutting it narrow, cutting it down to fit, and then using fridge mat on the outside, which really helps deaden a tire. Takes a lot of that bounce out of it. The lug is a proven performer, but it just can't. We're asking entirely too much. The compound can't even save it. They're just so thick. It is a festival of mediocrity in terms of it. In case I hadn't mentioned, a generous 7.5 over there, which is all 7.5 so far. I'm going to give it a 7.5 there and a 7.5 there. So it's all 7.5s with 1 9 in there. So I can do quick math at the end. Quick maths. Now, this is one of the only things I've been interested in. Yes. Look at that turn circle. There's a bit of a flywheel effect. Kind of behaves like a tire with a silicone in it because it basically weighs roughly the amount of a tire with a silicone in it. Oh! You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Jeez. To borrow the parlance of the youth, sheesh. That is without contest. That was the best whip performance I've ever seen. We don't give 10s. It doesn't matter. In this context, because it had a far above average, so above a 9.4 on the regular whip, and the best cyclone self-ride I've ever seen. Like, basically, if you could catch your rig mid-fall, you would self-ride it every time. A little bit of the flywheel effect, a little bit of the unbendable shoulder. I'm going to give it a 10 for self-riding. So through 8 instances, we have a 10, a 9, and 6 7.5s. That's as much for me as it is for you. I half want to see this thing just turn into absolute glue in the wet. The 3 C's are very important. You really want to get at least 2 out of the 3 right. And I mean, optimally for a tire to perform, you want all 3: compound, composition, and composition, compound, composition, and compound, composition, and carcass, right? So the carcass is way too thick. It's so thick that it's over, and it's too skinny. So we need like a whole nother row of KLR lugs to try to do the job. They really do try. Please do. If anyone has prior experience with the KLR X4, please, just in the comments below, just tell me why. Because, like, I love the KLR V1. I'm pretty solid on the V2s. I'm not mad at the KLR Ms. The X4 made no sense indoors when I was mounting them, and it makes less sense now. This transitional behavior is absolutely average. And the weight, the 126 grams of rubber per tire, and the skinniness. I'll go ahead and give it a meaningless 9. We're gonna give it a 9. Every score here would probably be off a few tenths either way. But after seeing the Slick Rock performance, honesty no one asked for, we're just scoring this thing in round numbers so that we can get it over with. I mean, we've gazed into the abyss in the past. We've put too much effort into a tire that doesn't warrant the effort. How does that not push over? Like, it has enough grip not to fall back, but it does not have enough grip to progress. And here's the thing. If it was an instance of buying it, well, don't do that. Awful. Awful. Okay, that was my first. That was a hemi-demi semi-glimmer of hope. And we fell down, so we got a position right here, so we don't get hosed. I want to see this just walk it in the wet. I want to see it walk it up. Oh, I should have lowered my expectations. I felt like that carcass was going to betray. Easy side. I'll say it on record. This isn't even a backhanded compliment. I mean it. It behaves exactly the same on wet as it does on dry. If this tire was scoring, in the 90s, mid to upper 90s as any other KLR would, then that wet performance would be outstanding. But this tire scored a 7.5 on the dry, and I would give it no additional points on wet. This is a hallmark. This is the KLR that I can't imagine anyone asked for. So, a 10 and 2 9s is 28, and 7 7.5s is 52 and a half. 52 and a half plus 28 should be 80 and a half. 80 and a half is catastrophic because 80 and a half falls onto the leaderboard directly between the Endura King Trekker back before they were even naming compounds, but we have to assume S3, and the 1.55 inch crystal pin, which were dog toys that we fitted to Tamiya semi-hauler wheels and filmed a April Fool's Day episode. More unnecessary behind the scenes. That was the first and most likely last ever April Fool's episode that we would do here at the Canyon, because you would be astonished at the number of people that didn't get the joke. I don't know if they didn't look at the upload date. I don't know what it was, but a lot of people did not get it. So anyway, then the Boom Racing Max Grappler KLR clones, the Jolicars are right below these at a 79.1. So they were very close to fake clones. And then below that, there's sort of an intermediate line. There are only 9 or 10 tires or so in the 80s. This is the lowest scoring tire in the 80s. The next step up is the King Trekker at 82.7. And then we follow that with the Copsursi Taun at like an 83.4. 80.5 for a tire of this manufacture and this cost per unit is egregious. The X4 is the worst thing KLR has done. This feels like a punishment for a crime as of yet unknown. So please, I reiterate and I restate, if you have any experience with the KLR X4, please do let me know. Please do let me know. I have to know what's the deal with a 40 millimeter wide, nearly 5-inch tall, 5 millimeter thick tire. This is something I would expect to receive in a box from AliExpress. Down from the look to the composition, down to the performance. I don't understand it. I understood it very little inside the workshop, and I understand it less now. So there you go. Take it as you will. Way down there. Way down the list. I want to say that the comp spec KLR is up in the like top 20 tires that have ever been tested, and this is in like the bottom 30. So who knows? I don't know. You don't know. Baseline is like, please go on the internet and order me some tires. Order some tires that you just have, that you just know. Then when you test them, get some of the soft compound upgrade RCs. We tested the super soft. Maybe we need to test the soft, because even if they're not quite on par with the super softs, they ain't gonna give us an 80. So that's his hope. That's my hope. My hope is that in between now and when we meet again, you one and all do your very best. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you again here from the canyon. Baseline is like, please, just let me go back to my garage where I can go to sleep and pretend that none of this ever happened. We're right with you, brother. We are with you all the way.